Hey, what's up there, YouTube? It's been a little while since I put a video up on this. It's been so damn cold out, it's been hard to get out here. So what I'm going to do is pull this pan off. I'm going to show you what it looks like inside and show you how I go about lighting this oil burner. Okay, so first things, let me move the camera here because I'm going to pull this pan off so that way you can see what it looks like inside and how I go about doing it. Sorry about the jostling video. Now, I recently did a couple things to this. I completely drilled out the second row. They're all the same size drill bit all the way around, and they stagger the first row here. Wearing blue gloves because this is going to get dirty. Now what I'll do is I'll remove the skillet. So you can see here, this is in really tight, so I actually have to hold onto the stove and slide it out. Okay, so there you go. There's all that crud, but it's not affixed to the bottom of the pan. You can see I'm just shaking it. That's all the crap that's in the oil, the leftover, all the leftover sludge. But as you can see, it's all dry. There's no wet oil in here because this thing does burn pretty good. So what I'm going to do is just scrape the bottom of this real quick with this. Now there's a lot of shit in there. I mean, that's pretty thick. Let me see, let me dump it in a bag over here. Hang on a second. Okay, so there you go. There's a clean pan. It's still pretty good shape. You can see here's the wear marks from the bottom bracket that holds it in place. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Now, when I go to light it, what I do is I put the skillet back in. Okay, as you can see there, it never goes in the same way twice, but I can assure you it is in there. Now what I do is I give myself a little bit of starting fluid. Now there is a flue damper on this chimney, which this chimney was from the wood stove, so that's why the damper's there, but I usually leave it wide open. And I have some really, really old gas. There's only maybe 2 or 3 ounces in there. And what I'll do is I'll dump it in here, right in the hole. And if I put a lighter to it, it won't light. I actually have to use a torch. Okay, so there's that's lit, and then I'll let that burn for just a minute. And then I'll come back here and I'll crack open my oil drip. And the little, yeah, there's the wind. The wind is picking up, so it's gonna be kind of funny. The little elbow that I had tack welded on here broke off when I was drilling new holes. So I just have that sat in there right now. Hasn't affected it in any negative way, so I just leave it. And then I have a couple pieces of wire here that I use for, this is my dip wire. All I do is dip. You can see it's dry at the moment. But that was the other reason why I left the damper on this pipe, because of the wind. I got to get a chimney cap up there, but I didn't want to put a cap on it with the way it was burning before because it was all sooty and nasty. and I could never get it to burn the way I wanted it to. And then that would just create a draft issue, so I just didn't bother putting one on yet. I'm going to eventually. It'll help with the really windy days. Now, the other thing that I also did to this after I got done drilling out the holes was I took the old tank collar, the part that was on the top of the tank here, that went around, that has the handles in it, and it also protects the valve. And I also took this piece of metal that I cut out of the top of the tank. I have both of those pieces inside here, where this fire tube comes up. It's welded to the bottom of the tank. It doesn't protrude into the tank. So the fire basically comes out of the secondary burn chamber and goes straight up the chimney. So I lose a lot of heat to the chimney. So what I did was I took those two pieces of scrap steel, I closed the circle on that bracket. So instead of it being, open on one end, I closed it so it makes a complete circle. And then I took that scrap piece that I cut out for the flue and placed it on top of it over the flue pipe inside here. So when the fire comes up, theoretically it's supposed to go out like this and then ride up the side of the tank, capturing more heat and then, throwing it back into the room. Theoretically, that's what it's supposed to do. I don't get the fire shooting up the chimney anymore, and it does seem to get the tank a lot hotter than it used to. So it's now, this will be the second time I'm running it since I've done that. But now you can see that's basically self-sustaining. It's running on its own. And then we'll dip it. You can still see it's still dry. We could also hear the wind picking up. So there's nothing on the end of the stick yet here. Yeah, it's still pretty dry. And if I look down in there, I don't even see the oil yet. So it's probably on that little angled frickin' wind. So if I dampen this down, I get a dirty burn, but it burns a little bit more consistently and quieter. But now I can see down in the firebox there's no oil yet. It's still burning in just that little puddle, but you can see it's just dripping. So it's just drip, 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 drip. This is really warm down here, so but you can see it's just drip, 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 drip. So now I feel confident enough where I can give it a little bit more fuel. I'll open in another quarter turn. It seems to burn a lot better. When it's not windy, it burns really good. Actually hear the oil boiling in there now a little bit. Dip. No, still dry. Or at least dry right here. Still dry. I look down in there, I can kind of see where the oil is. Now I also have a theory. I think these holes here, the actual original rotor lug bolt, or where it slid over the studs on the wheel hub, I think they're too high up. So I think what I'm going to try to do is block these off and maybe add one or two on the lower part here to create turbulence inside the primary burn chamber. Because I did notice that if I block them off, it does burn quieter, I'm not touching these washers. I know they are red hot. But I'll take one of these and I'll cover it over, and it changes. I'll take this one, cover it over, and then I'll take this one. These are zinc plated washers, and this thing got so hot the last time I ran it, it melted the zinc right off of them. And flakes. Turned it to powder. But that's what you want. You want it to get hot. But my exhaust gas temperatures never exceeded 400 degrees. See, and I'll cover that one too. See, and it changes its tone, how it burns, as soon as I open it. Starving for air. So, but I'm also thinking because they're so close to these holes, it's the location of the holes I don't think is right. So I definitely want to try. Moving the holes from here and maybe putting one like down here on the lower part. So if I open these up. Now, a lot of that's because of the wind. And now I got a little bit of oil in there. It's still coming up in temperature. And I'm still only very little stream. So I'll close it down just a little bit to let it burn that off while it comes up. But like I try to close one or two of them off, like this back one here. I'll leave this one open because that's where I used to dip and check my levels. But that's my latest update. I mean, nothing fancy, nothing extravagant or anything different. Just I thought I'd give you an update because I did notice a few things different about it. And like I said, it sucks when it's windy because it does not burn right. But no matter what type of stove that we had here for heat, it always affected the way it ran when there was wind because the chimney, the way it's set up. I gotta raise the chimney just a little bit more because it's just below the peak. So, but that's my latest update on this. I mean, I don't really have anything else exciting to share with you right now. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe in the next week or so I'll be starting, depending on the weather, because it takes about 3 or 4 hours for this thing to get the garage warm. So I'm hoping once the weather breaks I could actually start bringing more renewable energy videos. Alright guys, that's the latest from the oil burner. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them down in the comments. Like, favorite, subscribe to the video, you know, the usual YouTube stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.